welcome.
Hello.
Feel free to unmute yourself and say g'day or hello or however you want to.
Hey, Positive Prime. You're looking a little different.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Good day.
Hello. Good evening. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm good morning as well. Coffee time.
Tea time.
Yeah, feel free to, if you did decide to join us with a cuppa, wine time. Thanks, Lee. Let us know what you're having to drink. You can do it in the text as well.
Here.
Hot tea.
Yeah, just water here. It's 8 p.m. my time.
That's a good thing to drink before bed. Definitely not drinking any caffeine before then.
It's hot here, so.
Water. We got some espresso blue bottle coffee. Heard about that. 2 a.m. in Switzerland. That is an epic effort. That's a great point. Does anyone want to put in the chat where they're dialing in from? I'm coming to you guys from the Gold Coast, which is Yugambeh country in Australia, if you didn't recognize from the accent. I live about 3 hours south of Kim, who's the founder and creator of Positive Prime. So it's our morning. Beautiful. A lot of US. Drinking a wine spritzer. Hope that's not the morning.
Pensacola. I love Pensacola. Yay. Anchorage. Richmond, Virginia. I live there. Cool.
Okay, I think we've been here for 3 minutes, so there might be a few people rolling in. My name is Benny Wallington. I'm a storyteller and I work for Positive Prime, doing a lot of the interviews and writing and content. And I'm stoked to be able to introduce Shannon McCaffrey, who's dialing in as well as part of the Positive Prime team, Patty Cromer and Mayumi Kazu. You might have seen some of our faces. Some of you guys are fresh to Positive Prime. Some of you guys have been in with us for months and years even. And so it's beautiful to see you all. I'm also a peak performance coach with a company in the US called the Flow Genome Project. And so a lot of the work I do is in how do we optimize our performance? How do we not drink coffee late at night? How do we drink our water and make sure we get ourselves ready for bed? Don't worry, I've been guilty of that. I used to drink the Red Bulls late at night. That's another period of my life. But I'd really like to just invite you all into a collective breath. And it's a beautiful way to transition into, if this is your first Zoom of the day or maybe your last. And just to get comfortable, feel free to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Just find a nice, steady breath. If you can, through the nose. And what I want you to do with this breath, which I'll describe in a moment, is to just let go of anything that's come before, good or bad, and just drop yourself into this space with us. And this is a breath where you take a big deep breath down into the belly, fill up that belly, and then it's a slow exhale through the mouth, as pursed lips. That's how I like it, a tranquilo breath, which is Spanish for chill out and calm down. So if we can all do it together, that'll be a beautiful practice. So empty your lungs and take a big deep breath in through the nose, right in, and then just a slow breath out through the mouth. And just feel your body sink into the space. Awesome. Thank you very much. Super grateful to be here and to be seeing all of your beautiful faces. I'm just flicking between the pages. I don't have a Zoom screen big enough. There's something that I have used as a daily practice with my beautiful partner, Jacqueline. And I borrow it from Brene Brown, which I know many of you are familiar with Brene Brown's work. It's something that I try to do at the start of all meetings after we've done our breath and we've dropped in. And that's just to inquire into how we're feeling. And Brene does this beautifully with just a simple percentage. So if you feel comfortable, it'd be awesome to drop your percentage into the text just to get a feel of where we're at. I'm feeling pretty frothy, which is what I'd call it, pretty excited to be here. So I'm about a 90, 95, beautiful start. It's just a great process for you to take forward in whatever you do, because it allows you to see if someone, that smiley person, always comes in smiling and they might just be a little bit lower that day. What can we do for those people? Jackie, I'll have to explain frothy. It's kind of like being amped, that the bubbles on the top of your coffee or your beer, depending on what that is. Nice, 71, 73. It's also surfer slang. I love surfing, so that's kind of my artistic outlet here in Australia. 74. Thank you very much for sharing. Feel free to use frothy as well. It's actually, there's a debate going on between the west coast of the USA and the west coast of Australia and the east coast of USA as to where that came from. So if you hear surfers or snowboarders talking about it, they might be claiming it. Awesome. So I've had a little bit of an introduction to myself. I'd just like to throw to Patty and Shannon, who might do a little bit of an introduction for themselves as well. And then we'll talk a bit about Positive Prime. And I'm really just want to say one more thing before I pass over to Patty. This is the first time we've done one of these welcome sessions. Kim Serafini, our wonderful founder, does a lot of work online and doing sessions like this and coaching. And so we're giving her a little bit of a break today and jumping in. And it's a privilege and an honor to be doing this with you. And so we're going to try a few things and ask you some questions as well at the end about what you'd like to see moving forward. We'd love to make this into a sort of ritualistic practice that we do every week so we can continue to improve. And so I'll throw it over to you, Patty.
Welcome, everybody. It's nice to be here in a brand new venue. We haven't done just a straight up welcome session. Some of you have come in really for the first time to meet some of us, and we love some of the people that have been in our community for a while. As for me, I've been in the community for a while. I've seen a lot of changes and all good. Worked with Kim for about 6 years and been through a lot of iterations, and we are in the right place now. There's so many great things happening, and it's hard to stop talking about Positive Prime. I think my friends are getting a little bit sick of hearing about it, so they just need to join the fold, right? Thank you. All righty, Shannon, what you have? Uh-oh.
Might have lost her.
Yes, I know she
I
was
think
having
Shannon's frozen.
serious issues. She already announced this problem. So
If she turns off her camera, it might help.
yeah, I think she may not be with us, but we can just keep moving along then. And when Shannon pops in, we'll catch up
here
with
she
her.
is. Do you want to try again, Shannon?
Yeah. We're doing introductions.
Yeah, I keep my internet. I figured, if you can hear me, my internet keeps dropping out. I am sorry, so sorry. My background is in online marketing, and I've known Kim for, I guess, 6 years now. So I've been working with Positive Prime for the past 2 months, working on our marketing funnel and working on how we can increase our subscriptions. And I think I don't know if anybody can hear me. So don't you just love the internet? Yeah. No. Okay. All right.
Amazing.
Did
Thanks,
you get
Jan.
any? of that,
We
Patty?
did. Thank you very much. We caught it. It's good. Thank you.
Bet.
And Mayumi's our wonderful. She's pretty much like the engine behind the scenes over in the Philippines. So she's just going to sit in the background. If we have any more technical questions that come through, that Mayumi's probably the best answer, and she'll jump in. So my role is really, and I'm seeing some of the faces here. I'm seeing Jackie and Linda. Some of the people that I've had the absolute pleasure to chat to about the stories that live within Positive Prime. And so we are a technology company. We have a beautiful coaching arm, but it's really about the stories that have come up, that are bubbling to the surface, the frothy stories that we're hearing about how Positive Prime is being used in the community. And I'm fortunate enough to jump on calls with Kim and then ask those questions and to really explore where we can go with Positive Prime in the future. But to take a step back, like, what is Positive Prime? Like, what is positive priming as a fundamental thing to talk about? I'd love to throw it to someone if they wanted to unmute and just say what positive priming is to them, if they feel a call.
I feel like it.
Is that Val?
Yes. How are you
Go
doing?
Val. Yeah, I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine too. I just love priming myself positively. And when Positive Prime came along, I'm like, wow, that's perfect match. So I really enjoy all the upgrade that has been happening on the website. And obviously I've been off the loop because I've been off the internet for a little while, but I'm hearing some funnels. So I'm very excited to hear more about that, because I just love priming. It's like the coat of paint, you know, putting a really good foundation, getting into the right vibrations, and then get out in the world.
Well, I think you touched on something beautiful there, Val, is that a really important thing when it comes to priming is to not be on the internet as well, is to go out. And there's kind of a joke as an Australian traveling the world. People ask if you've got kangaroos in your backyard. And I actually do now, which is this, I've moved into this property and I have them, and there's none out the back, and I would show you if there was, but I can kind of give you a little bit of a look out the back. But that's my backyard. It's beautiful, and very grateful to live here. But it's so important the way that we positively prime for our day. And for myself as a performance coach, and for my clients and for the work that we're doing here, is to talk about a lot of the things that we're fed at the moment are what you would probably call negative priming. You know, the news, the dialogue that's going on around the world, systems collapse, things like that. And depending on where you're living, we're all experiencing different iterations and versions of that. And so with that, how are we supposed to launch into our day and show up as best we can? And so this concept of positive priming, and then the technology that we're all a part of building here, is so crucial to, in my opinion, the future of the planet and the future of humanity. I've spoken to Linda about this as well, you know, about becoming more regenerative, which means how can we leave everything better? How can we show up in our fullness? And so having great positive priming practices is so crucial. And I'd love to hear if anyone else has any other positive priming practices before we talk more about Positive Prime, the wonderful technology.
Well, I've added something to my positive prime. I'm Jackie up here, wherever the
Hey, Jackie.
box is. Okay. I got involved with the group and they put on a health challenge. And so I realized that I could take a stool and put a little table on it and put my laptop on top of that. And it put it at just the right height for me to get on the stationary bike that has heretofore been gathering dust in my living room. So now I pedal in prime every day.
Wow. That's called, and we've got some Aaron O'Dowd, who's an athlete who uses Positive Prime. He said he was positive priming using the technology so hard that he flew off his stationary bike. And so Yeah, I'm glad he didn't injure himself, but I think that's such an important part of it, and I think you just touched on it. I've got a book in front of me, which is by a guy named Steve Kotler. He's a mentor of mine, and it's called The Art of Impossible. And it actually says the subtitle is, if you can read it, a peak performance primer. And so a big part of that, and what we talk about when we want to show up our best, is what are our stacks. And so some of you I know will watch multiple Positive Prime sessions as a stack. And then what Jackie's just explained there is what we're calling more of an ecosystem stack. It's like, what's our morning routine look like? So how are we, having the right food in the morning? How are we waking up happy? And if we're not waking up happy, what can we do to change that? What sessions are we going to watch that put us into that right frame of mind? And so riding a bike is a perfect one because although maybe not if you're riding a bike out on the road, because if you're trying to watch Positive Prime and do that at the same time might be a little bit dangerous. However, combining these things, these like fundamental core elements of being an optimal human are so important for us. So, and for me, Positive Prime is just such a integral part of my morning routine now that it would feel kind of weird not to be doing it. I love this. This is a good riff. I always talk about riffs and jams and things when we're in collective conversations. So I'd love to just continue that and see if anyone else has anything that comes to mind off the back of what Jackie said.
Oh, my name's Ahadi and I'm in Chicago.
Hi, Ahadi.
I just wanted to say that I just recently started using it again to keep my spirits up because I've decided there's a way I can use my gifts for the world. And I just need to do what I can do and not look at the impossible. I'd like to have heaven on earth. So, but, I can't look at the impossibility. I'm like, what can I do? And Positive Prime helps me in the mornings, get my spirits up and keep them up. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Ahadi. That's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, we can, it's easy these days, like I was saying, with all the negative priming and what's going on, to drop into that state where the spirits are low. And Linda would say that, like, the light is dimming within us. And so how do we bring that light back up? And finding the right sessions and doing a little bit of a search around the platform is really helpful. And I'm just having a look at some of the comments. Sessions about how we feel. Yeah, I think if you go in and you start with where you want to get to and have a look at what we've got on offer there, generally I can find something that will lift the spirits. And then of course you've got the stuff if you're like already feeling stoked or you're already feeling really good. How do we go that extra step further? So it really is, I guess, versatile depending on what you want to come in with. Is Positive Prime on my PowerFit Elite? What's PowerFit Elite? That sounds interesting. And feel free to answer in the text. Positive Prime instead of social media. I think that's a really great one with transitions. So we talk about pattern interrupts. So when we feel like we're in a moment where, I've been on YouTube for too long, or I'm scrolling Instagram or something like that, and we notice that, like, how do we transition into something else? So a Positive Prime session might actually inspire you to go and take that walk if you can out in nature, or it might inspire you to do that next piece of content for your business that you've been holding off on. But you might be in that kind of rut. And in terms of when it comes to, is everyone familiar with flow states and performance and those kinds of things? So if you're not, flow states are really when we feel our best. They can be everything from just like a sort of shot of dopamine and feeling, and which we call micro flow, and getting into a state of feeling just that bit better so we can match our challenge, whatever we've got coming up for the day. And then we've got these sort of macro flow moments where we're just, everything is coming off for us, like you might be flying down a mountain skiing or something like that, and you're just like, oh wow, I feel like I'm world class at this, because you are. And so these elements of flow are what we're really looking for, and Positive Prime sessions allow us to get past the struggle period, which we might feel through the day, and really allow our brains to get into and our bodies to get into a state of release. Because once we get through the struggle and when we've got practices that allow us to release, we can find the flow states out the other side. And so, yeah, this is inspiring me in terms of content of what to share next via our emails, because and I love the feedback that we're getting from you all with the stories that we're telling and those things. So, and also the last part, because I've got to wrap it up, because sometimes we get stuck on the flow part, is we need to have recovery, because before we go back into struggle, that struggle phase, which is actually can be healthy, like struggle is a good thing when we look at it like that. We need to recover, because flow takes a fair bit of a toll on our bodies. So we need to recover. It's like exercise. You need to recover before you exercise again. Otherwise, you're just sort of in that struggle phase the whole time, and we end up with diminishing returns. So, yeah, I'm loving where this conversation is heading. Is there anyone who wants to jump in for a final thing on positive priming before we move on?
I actually have a question.
Oh,
go ahead,
go
Lee.
for it, Lee.
Huh?
Do you want to go, Lee, and then we'll go Sandy after?
Sorry, thanks. I positive prime for actually around 30 to 40 minutes every morning. Like the first 5-10 minutes is like drinking my coffee and just kind of just waking up and being, but I like to watch that. And then I'll go into like one of the super mixes and go into the thank you, and the gratitude in the beginning of that, and go into more of a meditative. But sometimes I find that I almost get tired again. Is that what you mean by when you kind of have to go out of the flow state, or?
So the positive prime session makes you tired?
Well, not at first, but I'm just wondering if I'm going too long all at once, because sometimes all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wow, I could just like zonk out.
Well, I think you're finding what you're doing is you've found something that's actually potentially beautiful for when you want to calm down, because as we know, we can sort of dilate the pace of a positive prime session. So when we're watching them slowly, for me at least, that's a bit more like your chill, meditative, okay, maybe this is a wind down session, drinking it in. And back to that kind of thought on stacking, then when you crank it up with the super mix, that's where you don't want to watch those ones at night. There's a few that kind of put me into it. I was like, oh, now I'm too awake, which I made a mistake the first time when I first joined Positive Prime. So I think it's about understanding which sessions are the best for what you're trying to get out of it. And I think the more you use it, and use that little heart button down the bottom so you can find your favorited sessions, the more you use it, the more you'll have sort of an ecosystem of what priming session you're after. Because you got to remember, positive priming can be positive priming into a what we would call a down-regulated state, which is more calm, chill. There's a fantastic psychologist called Lisa Feldman Barrett, who's worth looking up. And she's got this beautiful wheel, which basically shows this down-regulated state down in the bottom right-hand corner. And then an up-regulated positive state is when we're what I would call frothy or energized and ready to go. And then on the other side are our negative versions. So our down-regulated negative is kind of when we're sad and a little bit apathetic. And then when we're up-regulated negative, that's when we're anxious and like charged in the wrong way. So this is giving me some epic ideas, Lee, about how could we, and this is fantastic, actually. I'm frothing. I've gone up to a 95. How can we map these positive prime sessions onto something similar to what Lisa Feldman Barrett's created, and for ourselves and for probably positive prime as a wider community, and say these are the best sessions if you're feeling thingy, if you want to go from here to here based on that. And here's the speed that we recommend. But just because we recommend it, it's all about, trial and error and learning from these things. So yeah, great question. Sandy, did you want to go next?
Yes. So I've been using Positive Prime for about a year now, and I finally this weekend personalized it. And I know it makes such a difference. You know, I have about 3 pages of personalization. I think that's not even enough. You know, family. I took pictures from my vision board and put them into Positive Prime. So now my vision board is Positive Prime. And I mean, I just get so excited when my pictures pop up, you know, in the regular Positive Prime. So I'm sorry I waited so long, and I'm recommending that everybody, you know, have fun with personalizing it.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting to observe, Sandy, as well. You're not the first one who's been using it for quite a long time and then finally taken the plunge. I was having a chat with a new user, and perhaps this is a reason, and I'm not saying it's the reason you hadn't done it in the first place. Was like, oh, what pictures do I pick? Or I don't want to look at pictures of myself. I want to look at, I want to look at other things. That was some of the feedback I got. And so what I was saying is, we don't necessarily have to put pictures of ourselves in there. We can put anything in there. We can put pictures of the people that, ironically, what I would call frothers, people that we aspire to be like, people who are operating at sort of those frequencies and energy levels, and in the spaces that we want to move into, and put those people into our sessions. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger had the idea when he became Mr. Olympia. He was like, all I'm doing is focusing on the fella who was Mr. Olympia, and I'm just growing into his body. So that was all he did. And then obviously once he'd done that, he went that little bit further, and then, and that's, I think, the capability of what the Positive Prime engine does, is allows us to, the prefrontal cortex, that nagging mind right in here that says you can't do that. With a vision board, we could look at images and go, oh yeah, I want that. That's what I could get to. However, there's something just in between going. And Christine Tiley says this beautifully. If you haven't listened to Christine Tiley's podcast with us, about something that's getting in the way, and even if we're not aware of it. And so with Positive Prime and being able to sort of bypass that nagging mind and go straight into the subconscious and other than conscious minds, we're really reprogramming ourselves. And yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, though. And I'm glad to hear that it is cool. It's kind of cool when you see a picture. I've got to stop myself and go, stop looking for your own pictures. Stop looking for your own pictures. Just enjoy. So yeah, and actually there's another point from a conversation I just had. And I'm going to throw to Patty soon, because I've just been waffling a little bit. But I was having a conversation about trying to focus on things, and basically there's another neuroscientist in the US called Dr. Huberman, and he's just done the rounds on I think, the Joe Rogans and all those kinds of things, and that tends to be when people blow up and become famous, right? But he was talking about the breathing that we were doing earlier, the slower breathing, which is something that we can do in any situation, which can positively prime us in any situation, when we feel the tension. But he was also talking about a diffused focus. And I think this is really helpful if you find yourself trying to find your name or your pictures that you put in there, like I do, is to just diffuse the focus a little bit. And because when we diffuse our focus, actually, this is a really cool thing to do when you're walking through the forest. You diffuse your focus and the animals won't run away, because when you're looking at the animals, they see you and they're like, see ya. Which is probably a good thing in Australia, because we've got some pretty leery animals here. However, it really does work, because your focus moves out to the side, so you can kind of do it with just your fingers, and it allows you to really just drink it in. I like that saying, drink it in, rather than trying to focus on too much, because especially when you crank up those super mixes, it's pretty wild, right? And I'm just having a quick look in the text. There's a video that shows you how to make your own. Teresa, we can create a video. Actually, we've got an upgrade coming to the system. If Mayumi can share the screen, that might be pretty cool to show some things.
Oh, I made you a
I can-
host then.
Oh, I can do it now, can't I? Okay, sweet. Desktop 1. How are we going? Oh, that was it. Just bear with me a little bit. So if you can see my screen, Mario, who's our technology whiz, has just created this section, which is now you can actually go in. You know how before you would have the images in your gallery and they would show up for the specific sessions. Now you've got your own gallery. So you can go in and you can take them out. You can go through. There's a few of mine. And yeah, you can literally go through, select the images, and then remove them as you go. So it's kind of like a nicer way to do it. And Mario's made it a bit foolproof as well, because it'll tell you what session that you had loaded it into, and to make double sure that you don't want to pull it out. So yeah, you can see a little bit of what.
Can I load them into a session from this screen, or do I still have to go to the session to personalize it?
You can load them in here. So see that button there? Yeah, there's a little loady button in there. And so we'll send an email with this update. So we're getting better at that. So bear with us because we've had so many updates. Yeah, we've kind of been just going, wow, Mario, wow, okay, wow. So yeah, getting that information out to you is paramount. So look out for the Facebook posts. If you're not in the Facebook group, hit us up and we'll show you which one to be in. Otherwise, if you don't like Facebook, I know a lot of people are moving off it. Just watch out for your emails. Just quantifying some questions here. Oh, beautiful. Thanks, Linda, for adding that in. Welcome, Gloria. Does anyone else want to share something that they've found useful in Positive Prime, or they have any other questions that are bubbling up? Because yeah, we can definitely answer them.
Hi there. I'm Julia. I'm in Harlem. I'm in New York City.
Beautiful. Welcome.
So glad to be here tonight with you guys. And I'm really new to Positive Prime and I'm really enjoying it. And I'm excited for my 18-year-old daughter to start using it as well, because she's in college and doing really well with her GPA, and also really interested in psychology. So I thought it might be really fun for her to incorporate this in her daily practice. And I think one of the things that I was thinking about, because I have a background in movement, I worked with a woman named Gabrielle Roth for many years, and she teaches trance dance, and the rhythms were flowing, staccato, chaos, lyrical, and stillness. And I was just thinking about what you said earlier about tempo and speed, and kind of curating what you need, whether you want to kind of zip it up and go into that frothy mode, or calm it down because it's evening time. And it just made me think about that movement practice, that sometimes we are needing to go into all those different rhythms many different times during the day. And so sometimes we can use Positive Prime to shift our energy or support something and turn the volume up on it. And so I did some just like elliptical at the gym, and I brought my cell phone with me and just watched Positive Prime while I was on the elliptical. And that just kept me in a really positive state while I was exercising, while I was weight training. I'd be doing these repetitions and also looking at my phone in front of me and kind of just letting those images flow over me. So I'm finding it really fascinating of how fast do you play it, and going soft focus works really well for going quickly if I want to zip through something at like the eight times speed versus the slowest tempo. And I'm just really enjoying experimenting with, you know, what does my body need right now? What does my brain and my spirit need? What does my heart need? And kind of just kind of scanning my body and asking, like you would picking out food. You know, you're like, what does my body need right now? I'm kind of playing with the menu of Positive Prime and asking, what video do I need right now? Or which ones are my favorites, you know, and it's kind of it's been a fun experiment.
I think you hit on something, Julia, that I absolutely love about it. This is Jackie up here in the corner. If I gave myself permission to play with it, to just experiment with it. Yeah. I also go to it when I'm facing a challenge. And I was challenged to be really visible not long ago. And I went in and I found the session on stepping into your celebrity. And it was amazing for helping me just let myself step up.
Mm. Yeah, that's great.
And I love the thought around the menu as well. And like what Jackie just said, you know, the title as well, looking through the titles and going, you know, stepping into my celebrity, is that what I need for today? Is that what I want to embody? Because we have these awesome opportunities to step into the next version of ourselves. One of my mentors always says, when you wake up in the morning, you have an opportunity to begin again. And sometimes when I'm feeling flat, I'm like, that's really great. And actually, what we know is that we have this opportunity to do this over and over throughout the day. And it's yeah, I really love that, you know, like a menu, we can say, okay, what do I need right now?
And I just want to add to what you said, because it gave me this, I'm a super visual person, and my father was a jazz musician, right? So if I'm thinking about my day like an amazing album that I really love, and there's all these great tracks on the album, like old school record, you can just lift the needle off and put it on a different song. And that's kind of what I feel like Positive Prime is allowing for my subconscious. I might be thinking all kinds of thoughts with my brain that I'm aware of, but I'm starting to feel like I'm melting some of the conditioned thoughts that are in my subconscious, because I'm feeling softer and more pliable and more flexible in my experience when people bring something that might have triggered some kind of conflict response. I'm a little softer and a little more agile and not really wanting to be right or have conflict. I'm just kind of, it's a little kind of a jiu-jitsu move, you know, where I'm just kind of like, oh, okay. And I just let it float on by like a leaf on the river, instead of feeling like I've got to grab the leaf. I'm like, oh, you want to fight. Oh, you want to win that one. Oh, that's really important to you. I'm just kind of like observing it. And that's a big one. I think that's a big one, right? Where you're just like, oh, okay. And you just let it float on by instead of engaging in a reactive sort of programmed way.
Yeah. Sometimes I just like to take a breath when someone says something that resonates, rather than having to jump in and really say something. So thank you so much for that. I love that there's a song called Float On. And it's really about, it's like those lyrics what you just said. It's, you know, these things pop up. And if you let it float on, if we all float on, then, you know, the world will be a much better place, and we'll just feel better. Yeah, loving all this sharing. We next week, if it's if people are up for it, I think what we'd love to do is to create some breakout rooms. We're not going to do those today. So if people want to jump in, I feel like that's a really powerful way for us to connect deeper, because I know not everyone, myself included, sometimes doesn't really want to speak on a big Zoom room with a stack of people. sometimes it's just nicer to have a little riff with a couple of close humans. And yeah, so I actually just was thinking about this, and Patty and Shannon and Mamie and I can set this up. We'll send an email out, and maybe with a little survey about, because I think this is a Positive Prime is kind of like we're growing it at the moment. Many of you, if you've been using it for a while, have seen what it used to look like and how it's evolving and evolving and evolving. And you're all such important parts of it. And so for us to be able to continue to grow is really to get those feedback loops. And we're so grateful. Speaking with a mentor of mine yesterday about Positive Prime, and it was really helpful because this was the first time, and he just sent me a text and he's using it already after he had 3 email meeting cancellations. So it's pretty spreads like wildfire if you introduce it in the right way. And he was just saying all the feedback that we're getting from people, good and bad, or where we can improve, it just shows the degree of care that we have within this community, that people are spending the time to go through sessions and write us positive reviews, or send us, oh, this little thing might be better this way, X, Y, Z. And so I just wanted to share some gratitude for that. He just said, sometimes because he built tech companies back in the Steve Jobs era, like he used to hang out with all those fellas in Silicon Valley. He's almost 70 now, American fella, but he lives down the road from me. Beautiful soul. And he says that's like the biggest form of flattery is getting that feedback. So thank you so much, and keep them coming. And we're doing our best with our humble growing team to make sure that we keep creating the magic. And it's so much about you guys taking the reins on your own sessions and adding in your images. And like we said, if there's a song that you don't like the music, I think Jackie mentioned there, put on your own music. We just mentioned music as a flow trigger, especially nostalgic music, right? Like the stuff that we listen to when we're a teenager, that's just in us. And we get like a beautiful visceral reaction. Even if it's not music that we listen to now, there's just something about it. So feel free to experiment. There's one thing I learned a while ago before I started my first company. And that was just that, I think I got it from Tim Ferriss, and he just said, your life is just one big experiment. And if you treat it like that, then you're going to continue to optimize, and you're going to continue to go on adventures, and you're going to continue to draw in new, exciting and interesting people. And I think in terms of the people that I've been able to have a chat with here, and the people that I've met in this community so far, it's just fantastic. So Patty, Shannon, did you want to jump in? Is there any riffs you want to pick up?
I'll riff for a second. I mean, when you're with Benny, you just got to riff a little bit. So one of the things that I love about just showing up, every one of you who showed up tonight with us, trying something new and bringing in the feeling that is Positive Prime. And when you're all in your own spaces, choosing a session and feeling into what you want, think about some of the things that we even have shared tonight, and how this is the community that we're building, and you're part of the community. We're open to your questions, and we want to make it really serve you so that we can change humanity and be more positive and spread that positive light. And Benny's teaching me a lot about flow, and especially tonight I've picked up a few things, but each one of you who shares something leaves a little piece behind with the rest of us. So think of this as not only your positive priming place for making yourself and your life better all the time, but also being with us as we build this community, because yeah, we're small, but we're mighty. We've got big dreams, and so do all of you. And positive priming is one of the best ways to get there and enjoy the journey. So thanks for being here, and we'll repeat the process. And if you have anything that you would really like to have us cover in these brand new sessions, the Cuppa sessions, put them in the chat, drop us an email, or speak up now so that we can cover them. If we do these every week, we're going to have a lot of material that we can really riff about. Thank you, Benny. I loved a riff. So Shannon, how's your How's your connection? Do you have anything else you want to share?
I don't know. We'll find out. It's awesome to be here. And I love what you said, Patty. I think one of the goals of this call is that we're creating an amazing community of like-minded people. So we thought it would be awesome to get everyone on a call who wants to join us, where we can connect with each other, or, you know, connect with us here, you know, at the headquarters around the world of Positive Prime. You guys all asked some great questions. You know, I think what is really important is to know that, you know, we all use Positive Prime here, and we know the benefits of it, and we're building an amazing community where we all can share what we've learned and how we can use it better. And, you know, everyone here is supporting each other. And in my experience, it's hard to find a community and a network of people where everyone really is here because, you know, we all have goals, we all have things that we want to do and we want to accomplish and feel better about. And what better to do it with a group of awesome, amazing people. So we'd love to do these again. You know, if you guys are up for it, whoever wants to show up every week, you know, that's another reason why this is our first one. So we wanted to test this to see if this is something that you guys are interested in. You certainly don't have to come every week. No, we have not figured out what day yet or what time. So certainly if you know or you have a suggestion, please put it in the chat or send us an email. And that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Patty. And I think as the community grows, we could play around with a couple of different times. So there might be a morning here and an evening here and there. Brenda, did you have something that you would like to jump in with? We just noticed that you're unmuted.
Oh, I think that was an accident. No, I'm just quite enjoying the conversation. Loving to
Amazing.
hear how everybody's using it. So
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm just reading a little bit in the chat about, yeah, people are keen. Yeah, so let's definitely set them up. And like I said, we'll continue to improve the sessions and have things like breakout rooms. And if there's something that you've seen in other communities that you really love and you feel would be helpful for us, feel free to share. And that goes for sending emails on if you see something in any kind of field as well. I'm always keen to learn more, especially when it comes to the intersection of spirituality and neuroscience, because I think they're a lot closer than we think. Well, not we think, us here, but I think the wider world. And so, and I like to say, Positive Prime is a little bit science, a little bit magic. I haven't signed that one off with Kim yet, but it feels pretty true to me when I'm explaining it to people, because the things that occur, you know, good luck explaining that with science. Maybe one day, but part of me is also like, let the mystery stay the mystery. It's kind of fun to have that as part of it. It feels like with a lot of technology these days, we have to know everything we're getting, and it's all this, that, and that. And that's important. However, I think the magic of Positive Prime is the magic. So awesome. Love the idea of regular sessions. Yeah, that's a great point, Patty. We've got an update on music options coming as well. There's an amazing producer who's produced Snoop Dogg, produced the late great Amy Winehouse, and if you check out some of Aaron's sessions, he's friends with Aaron. He actually lives in California. I had the pleasure of having a chat with him the other day. His name's Greg Papania, and he has a company called Signs. I'll put that in the email that I send out as well. And he's really into the binaural beats and how musical tones can get us into different brainwave states. So back to that point before about like, if that's putting me to sleep a little bit, it could be the music, the entrainment within the music. And so we're really looking forward to having more conversations with him and having more options for you guys around music. But like we said, at the moment, the hack is just to press turn down the music on the Prime session and put on your Spotify or something like that. That would be a cool topic. That would actually be awesome. Yeah, it would be really cool to invite people from the community into these calls as well. And we could also, if you have a topic that you really love to riff on, we could perhaps have something where you jump on and share your genius for a bit, which we've done a few times in different spaces. That could be awesome. How are you using positive prime? What are you seeing as the best way to do it? Is it on the bike? Try not to stack it. Or is it down by the ocean? Is it out in the mountains? Is it all the things? What do your stacks look like? And I think maybe that'll be something that we explore when we jump into breakout rooms is how are we using it and what can we teach each other? Yeah, Patty said Mark Romero is a gifted musician and writes music for his sessions. I wish there were options in positive prime to choose which before starting the session. Well, Jalissa, that is coming. So I'm not going to say, yeah, there you go. Patty wrote that as well. That is coming. Oh, Mark's here. G'day, Mark. Can you turn the music without turning it off? Yeah, I'd just say use your own musical dial. So just go, you know, if you're using a Mac or using any device, use the musical dial on that. Yeah, beautiful. And I'm getting some personal messages here as well, which is a great feedback. So thank you for anyone who wants to send us some stuff that they don't want to put on the chat. You can click down in the blue button and you can just send it direct to me, which is I'm Positive Prime. So it'll go to one of us. I'll send it to Patty or Shannon.
Yay!
Oh, there's Mamie.
I love that color in your background. Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Yeah, I said to Mamie, "Do you?" I'm not going to put you on the spot here, Mamie, but I said, "Do you want to do an introduction?" She goes, "No, I'm shy. I'll just answer the questions, and that's cool, and that's okay." Like we said, if people run their own race, and she's just an absolute, the most amazing engine when it comes to Positive Prime. Beautiful soul. She's so polite to everyone. Kim talks about edifying people. I think edifying Mayumi she deserves all the praise she gets because she's got the support team as well. So they get all the good and the bad. So I've worked at a couple of tech companies, some really big ones, and the support team are really the heart and soul of the company because they keep everything going and keep everyone frothy and stoked. So I'd just like to send some love to Mayumi. We'll send it from everyone. Lots of love hearts. Awesome. I'm a confirmed Mayumi fan. Mayumi's a wizard. Yeah, send some Mayumi love in the text. Awesome. We've got 5 minutes left. This has been a great intro session. I like to think of Zooms can be negative priming as well. I've been on some negative Zooms where, you know, people or whatever project's not happening in the way you like, or you're dealing with an issue or something. Could be just the struggle phase before a beautiful release phase and into flow. And usually that's the case. And so I like to think of good positive Zoom sessions as positive primes as well. This is a positive priming session. So that's what we want. If it's the start of your day, use that froth, go off and go on an adventure outside, or do some creative writing, or whatever your art is. Feel free to use that resonance of all the people here. If you're winding down, chill out, listen to some music, go to bed with a smile on your face. I have a question. How young is too young for a child to start using Positive Prime? I don't have any children, but I mean, Julia just mentioned her 18-year-old daughter. She wants to get using Positive Prime. Jana has her 16-year-old son who just hit 2 hole-in-ones. I don't know if you've listened to that podcast, in 10 days. And so he's like, "Mom, was it Positive Prime?" And so, yeah, there you go, Katie. I reckon it's up to you guys as the users. I'd say I know that Christine Tiley, she has younger ones. So I think they're in elementary school that use it before they go to karate practice and for their karate meets. And they're a family of champion karate. Forgive me, I don't know the term for a karate person, but we'll call them athletes. Yeah. Awesome. Someone said their 5-year-old watches it. I mean, let's think about it from like, what is your kid watching now? What are the children watching now? I think Linda would probably know this better than anyone, because Linda does amazing work with families and young children. Is if they're watching XYZ, which we might class as negative priming, then it makes sense for them to watch positive priming. It might just be about, did you want to add something, Linda?
I'm just caught in a mental debate in myself, because my focus are children. I've been reading information about the impact on brain development when a child spends, is getting bombarded. My sense is exactly what you're saying. They're going to get bombarded anyway. Might as well do it with something positive. But there's that little nagging voice in the back of my head that is going, you need to double, triple check that, because I love my little kids, and truth be told, they're already online with me. It's a slightly different, it's the speed of it that I'm concerned about. So I'll do some research. I know a couple of people that study the brain, and I'll ask, I need to be 100% sure before I put it in front of my little kids. So
yeah,
it's
beautiful.
one of those.
Yeah, I love that care as well, Linda. Definitely feel that through the Zoom rooms from you and your care for the children. I'd say probably like start them out on the absolute slowest and the chill, because that's pretty slow. And see how they go. And then also, I used to work in advertising. So part of my shadow from an earlier life in my early 20s was selling sugary drinks to kids, soft drinks and things like that. So I'm trying to redeem myself. And I know that they do use quick imagery, especially because in advertising, you have 3 seconds to capture someone's attention on a YouTube clip. Otherwise they just go, get off. So I'd hazard a guess that even the slowest positive prime would still be even slower than what some of these brands are using on kids to capture their attention. However, I love that you're going to look into that, Linda, and please share that with us, because that becomes part of our training ecosystem. And just before we go, it's 1 minute. We're rolling out our first positive prime for teachers with Barry McGowan, a couple of hours up the road from me. So I'll be there next Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. We'll let you know how that goes. That's going to be an amazing opportunity for us to really get positive prime into a school. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone showing up. I want to be really respectful of time as we come up to the hour. And I hope it's been useful, and feel free to send us any feedback. And like I said, we'll send you an email with a roundup of the things we've discussed. And thank you so much for all your input. It's been amazing.
Thank you, Benny. You did a great job.
Feel free to unmute and say goodbye to everyone, and as we go out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your day, night, whatever.
Bye. Thank you.
Well done, Benny. Well done.
Go to bed, Jen.
Thank you.